if you want. We're not live yet. We're about to. Yeah, but it's not. Look at the screen, buddy. It's almost like where I can and we see. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded and War Canoe podcast. We were just having a wondrous conversation. I got my best friend here with me, Kowalski. What's going on, my bestie?
What's up, lore master, as they call you, which is kind of an over-exaggeration, but it's not a big deal. It's fine.
It really is. You know,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's hard to believe that we don't get along with people, in public.
That's right. That's true.
It's hard to believe we're socially inadequate, some might say. Oh, all right, guys. So this is the first time us trying this whole new thing out. Let me know how it's going. I'm not sure how my computer's going to handle it, how YouTube's going to handle it. So let me know how all of the audio and everything. We're still just testing things out. But so yeah, this is the first ever War Canoe podcast. Probably going to be moving it to Twitch eventually, but we thought we'd start it out here, see what you guys like with it. On mine, it looks like my screen is going black, and then you guys are seeing us, and it's just going in and out. So let me know if that's happening. But with that out of the way, also let me know on the audio too. Got a couple of things we're going to talk about, and then of course, if you guys want to talk about stuff, we can definitively do that as well. But right now, as you guys know, Kowalski, who you can find at youtube.com/Kowalski, I'm assuming. If you can't, then I guess you'll never find his channel, is one of the best reporters when it comes to Trek news, and has uncovered how his best friend, Anas, as you guys know, Kowalski and Anas are like just the bestest of friends, is maybe having some issues, maybe having some things going on with his court case and everything. And I thought we would break it down, talk about that a little bit, and just whatever everybody else wants to talk about. But for the most part, did they actually cancel it today? I forgot. We didn't talk about that. I know they were thinking about it, or is it actually going forward?
So the appeal was like they missed their deadline in mid-October, and the Second Circuit Court gave them an extension, which was the 7th of November, and they filed on the 7th of November the extra documents. So they barely screeched into the deadline there. So the appeal's still going forward. But what was interesting is, and that what I reported on today, was the transcript that was attached to one of those court documents from a hearing that took place in January of this year, so quite a few months ago. And in that had some interesting little tidbits about the arguments being presented by Anas's legal team for their desire for kind of constructing this narrative of how CBS would have potentially stolen his idea for I guess a space tardigrade that uses a transportation device. So I reported on that quite a bit. I can go into that if you want me to, but it's kind of a lot of technical legal stuff. But the bottom line is they bunch of old guys sitting in a room with an older lady who doesn't understand how Steam Greenlight works, don't really understand it, and they ordered a legal discovery of information that wound up turning up literally nothing, except for one person they thought may have actually seen the Tardigrades game on Steam, and that was later debunked. So.
Well, I mean, you brought up the Steam thing. They said that it was a program everyone was playing. I don't know how much that mattered. I'm still more confused about why this is going through. And I need to send an invite to Nas, because I've had a couple of videos on him. We'll probably invite him to a War Canoe podcast because, again, you guys are besties. Yeah. I'm sure he'd want to be in the same space as you. So I think that
for sure that will definitely go over. Just phenomenal.
I think that would be great.
bring them all on. Really, let's get Doomcock and Nerdrotic and just the whole
Midnight's
thing.
Edge, have the whole cast of Midnight's
Yeah,
Edge
this
here.
is.
We can
Don't tell them I'm gonna be there. Tell them I took the night off, and then I'll
it'll
just
be
jump in real fast.
like
Surprise!
coming from behind the curtain, be like,
Yeah.
and then ask. I want everyone to sing "We Are the World." Oh, I'd actually pay money for that if all of us, like Midnight's Edge, and then most of the fandom menace, you and me, we all got on a stream and just sang "We Are the World." We should do that for Christmas, like a fundraiser. That'd be
I'm totally fine with that. We should do it for NASA's second GoFundMe.
when he does the third pill somehow when he goes
That's
for
right.
his third.
Exactly. He's just gonna keep filing another lawsuit. Just keep on going.
This is why you don't have friends. It's right here.
This is why I don't have friends.
Yeah.
That's true, because I eventually just stab everybody in the back. YouTube backstabbing, grifting, I think they call it. Actually,
That's a new word now. Grifting.
I don't know where this word came from. I hate it. I think it's a stupid word. But
I don't know where it comes from, but yeah, it's something I've been hearing over and over and over again. The only real reason this is of any interest to me, because I mean, people doing lawsuits, that happens all the time. The only real reason any of this comes up is because Anas has recently been talking about some things that have been happening to him. And two things before we start. So as you guys know, me and Ketwelski are doing the War Canoe podcast. We'll be doing it 2 times a month, and there'll be two parts to it. There'll be this part where we're nice and happy and all kinds of fun, and you just get to enjoy it. And then there's going to be an after hours where you get the real stuff, the real opinion, and that's going to be you have to be a patron or a YouTube member to do that, or give Ketwelski money in some way. But anyway, that's going to be towards the end of this.
Just send it in the mail, because people are still using that apparently. It's fine.
So, and the second thing is, before we really get into this, obviously no one ever agrees, and it's not good. If you send people hate in any form, you need to stop, no matter on whose behalf.
True.
If you call people an idiot, regardless of if you're calling people an idiot or you're calling them homosexual and wanting them to die, both of those, one is way worse than the other, obviously, but neither of them really should be happening, in my opinion. But Anas has stated that he's started to get some hate, and he's gotten quite a ton of hate. I guess the question is, and I'd love to know what the audience thinks. This is one of the times we'll look at some comments. It seems to really have ramped up ever since the appeal, and it's gotten very specific to preference. We'll say sexual preference and stuff, and it's just, I don't know. It's just one of the most insane things. Some people are questioning it, and a lot of YouTubers are going to bat to protect Anas, and it's weird to me that it's occurring, I guess.
Yeah, so, I agree. I agree with you there. It is weird that it is happening, especially at the frequency with which it's occurring, apparently, that he's reporting on social media. But there's a lot to unpack with that. There's a lot to kind of look at there, because it's not just the hates that he's getting in the context of the messages, but he's also not, from my understanding, he's not reporting any of these things to the authorities or to the shipping companies that are sending these physical letters that he's getting. And so there's a concern there that there's people that are saying that these letters and these hate mail messages are not real. I guess we'll kind of get into a little bit that there. But if these things are in fact real and they are being sent to him, there is, that's serious. These people are threatening his life, and he should go to the authorities to try to make sure that these people are investigated, because in this day and age, you can't trust any of that stuff. Sometimes, you can't trust any of that stuff. If somebody's really sending those messages to him, he should go to the police and get that checked out. That's not good.
I mean, letters in the mail is a crazy extent. I mean, everybody gets hate, depending on, what you do. I get it every fracking day. But yeah, I mean, if people were sending me in the mail that type of stuff, especially something that can be tracked, even if they don't have a return address, which, at least in the US, I know if you use FedEx, UPS or whatever, you have to actually give ID now. Especially something like that can be tracked, at least back to the origination point of it. I don't know why you wouldn't discuss that. Charles Ryan Lee saying, is this the plagiarization lawsuit? Yes, we are talking about the lawsuit where Anas felt that CBS had copied it because of the blue tardigrade and sued, lost, and now we're more talking about the fallout from that. and going through it. And he raised over $20,000 for the
GoFundMe that he started
GoFundMe.
there.
Yeah, but the
Yep.
counter, the subpoena or the appeal or whatever, which
Yep.
I didn't know appeals cost $20,000, but that would be
They
quite nice.
don't actually. They only cost about $500, according
Right.
to the court docket document.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's the whole thing too. So with this, and and I hate to try to get. I'm trying to avoid talking too much about the legal portion of it because it is kind of boring and a little bit complex. But basically, what it boils down to is that with the Second Circuit Court, with this particular appeal and the way they're going about it, if the judges that are going to look at the appeal maintain the ruling from the dismissal that he received a few months ago, then this case will be dismissed with prejudice, which means he cannot file another appeal and he cannot sue again for copyright infringement in regards to this. So it basically ends the entire thing. So what he got this $20,000 together for, I believe, is either to prepare, I guess, for the eventuality that it might go through, or it's to simply just pay the lawyers from the previous lawsuit because they didn't actually get anything, and potentially cover some costs for right now. So how this is going to unfold is going to be really interesting. I think we'll have probably an answer relatively soon, because the appeals courts, while they are busy, will have an answer probably before the middle of next year with
Yeah,
the end of this case.
I mean, benefit of the doubt, you have to prepare for actually going completely through with it. So maybe the lawyers and such. I mean, we can definitely benefit of the doubt of it. But it just, I don't know. It really, when I read it, seemed definitive, and I've already talked about this, so there's not a lot to belabor on that. But it seemed definitive. I guess you can always appeal just because you might get lucky and they might believe you, but it's just this whole thing seems like a cluster. And even I on Twitter, uh, when I challenged Anas, he really doesn't seem to know how to argue the points. Honestly, I don't know if you'd seen that, but we had talked about copyright, where he had used the music from what the
Right.
hell was it?
It was from Dexter, the
Yeah,
television show. He didn't quite understand, yeah, because the whole thing there was, and I even replied back to him during that time period too to say like you're not getting it, and what you're saying is actually making things worse, because I said that he took this song that some other YouTuber had done and used that in his illegal version of this game that he created for the show Dexter, and he was like, no, I made a MIDI file out of it, just change the pitch a little bit and it's totally fine. It's like, no, that's not how that works. Number one,
right,
you still took from that YouTuber, and guess what? That YouTuber took the song, the copyrighted song from the show. It's the show's song. Like, and that show is owned by CBS and they own that song. So she took it, then you took it from her, and you making it a MIDI file doesn't actually get you out of basically stealing that song. And he doesn't really know how that works, and he was not able to really articulate his point there. He just kind of went off the rails and then called everybody a bunch of CBS shills, and then it was kind of basically that was the end of the
yeah, but
conversation.
not directly, which is annoying. If you want to call me out, call me out.
Right,
Like
right.
I'm here on my channel live stream, being honest about it, and if on Twitter I'm being honest. I mean, if you want to call me a CBS shill, then just do it. I mean, let's dance and we'll see who comes out with that. I love how he and quite a few people don't directly call out people, which is just absolutely frustrating in my opinion.
Passive aggressive. I guess that's where we're at. So
Well, I mean that's the internet for you though, technically.
that's
Technically.
true. That's true.
The best way, so let's see what Commander Sloan says. The best way for CBS to end all this trouble with Star Trek Discovery is to finally come out and admit this, like Enterprise or reimagined or remakes. I don't think we're ever going to be free of people not wanting it to be canon. Of course, to be fair, that's what my channel is all about. So, I don't think.
I mean, the thing is it's just, they should have just. I mean, we could talk about this all night. I mean, they made a lot of mistakes coming out of the gate. They have course corrected a little bit, and we have no idea what we're heading into 2020. Like, Discovery is a totally different show now, and we have no idea really what the card show is going to be about. We have some theories, a lot of theories, and we have some ideas about what it is, but we have no idea what we're stepping into 2020. So I think everyone just needs to take a knee and recognize it's okay to say that the show failed in some ways, but it doesn't have to be a total failure, and they can continue to make it better as time goes on. I mean, shit, every Star Trek show on the planet has always had some rocky seasons, not just the beginning season. Sometimes they have them in the middle of their entire run.
Right.
So it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Don't worry, like guys, gals, it's gonna be all right.
Everyone's
It's gonna
gonna
be okay.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But beyond that, we can actually talk about something that matters that a lot of people aren't aware of,
Yeah.
which would be the fact that you are on par with flat earthers and
In your opinion.
anti-vaxxers. No, this is
Oh
fact.
yeah.
No, this
Yeah.
is 1-to-1 fact. That I would say. I would say that you have as much evidence for the topic we're about to talk about as anti-vaxxers do, which is to say
Okay.
that Starfleet is a completely separate, independent organization of the Federation.
It is.
No. I mean, is the U.S. Okay, let me say that. Let me ask you this. Is the U.S. military a separate organization from the United States? If you say
So
that.
I
No.
would
This
disagree
is
with
yes or
your
no.
your
No.
analogy is
This is
bad.
yes or no.
Your
Well, then
analogy is
that's
bad.
fine. That's fine. But let's just talk about that for a second. Is the U.S. military separate from the U.S.?
No.
Okay, cool. All right. Go ahead and tell me how Starfleet, which is the U.S. Army, different from the U.S. Go ahead.
Starfleet is not the U.S. Army. That's not true. I wouldn't correlate. I wouldn't correlate that. I think
Sure.
your analogy's bad.
Sure.
It's not the United States government. You have to look at it from the United Nations, which is basically what that's the UFP. The United Federation of Planets is the United Nations of the quadrant.
Okay. So the
And
United Federation of Planets doesn't have a authoritarian centralized government.
it does have
Oh, okay.
a council. It has a
No.
council,
No, no,
which
no.
just like the UN General Assembly exists. It
Okay.
has a council.
So they don't have a president that oversees everything? I don't know if the UN I don't know the UN is in effect.
They do. It's
My
not,
country.
The president isn't the right term, but they do have a chairman of the general, which
Okay.
oversees the UN. Yeah.
Great. So they have a chairman. So they don't have a president though.
Oh, I think
Okay.
chairman is a comparable term. You
Does
should
is
talk
the
to Kim
chairman
about
is
that.
this chairman who?
Chairman
Kim?
Kim.
Who the hell is? I mean, the United Nations doesn't matter in the real world, so I don't look at it. What
Well, right.
It's
That's
like
my point, though. Is the United Nations is like the strong arm of the United Nations is pooling the military and resources of all the nations
does
countries
does
attached, which is just like the Federation. It pools the
does
resources.
Chairman Kim
of all
have
the-
direct control over the military and science divisions of the United Nations?
Chairman Kim does, yeah.
He does. So he controls a military.
I'm not saying control. I'm saying that
Okay, because I'm saying the president of the United
States
Federations of Planets.
government is comparable to Starfleet in its relations to the Federation and the UN. That's what I'm
Well, that's
saying.
cool. But unlike the UN, the United Federation of Planets actually has a specified military that everyone goes into. That is the military of it, and it's controlled by the president of the United Federation of Planets. Whereas Chairman Kim doesn't have his own military.
Well, I don't know if I don't actually know what the Federation
see,
of Planets.
I do.
Federation of Planets.
So
The Federation of Planets. The president of the Federation has control over Starfleet, but there is also Starfleet Command.
sure, just like the U.S. president has control of the military, but they also have generals and admirals.
I don't think that analogy is fair. I
You
don't
know,
think so.
And you may not know this, but Star Trek is actually on TV and there's movies. It's kind of insane. And so
Listen,
you may want to.
if the UN says we have to pull a military or humanitarian force together, it directs all of the different nations attached to it to build these resources, commit resources to it, and then it puts a UN commander in front of it, in charge of it, and then they send them out. The U.S.
So does Chairman Kim?
Starfleet in that situation.
So does Chairman Kim control NATO then and get to tell NATO where to go and
No,
NATO
not
decides-
Chairman Kim. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
Chairman Kim. Chairman Kim doesn't. He's in
sorry.
North Korea.
You're talking about the UN.
Yeah.
UN.
that's
So
what-
Chairman Kim, North Korean guy in
I mentioned Chairman Kim because chairman is a comparable term to president. That's what I said.
So you don't know who's in charge of the UN?
No, right now, no. Of you
Oh,
in general.
I was taking you for your word. I mean, who
No, why would
is
Kim
chairman?
Jong-un be? You've been drinking.
Okay, so first off, there's more than just one person named Kim on planet Earth. That's gonna blow your mind, I know.
That's
But it's not just Kim Jong Un. There's a couple of people. There's like 4 of them in the U.S. Who is chairman of United Nations? So this is gonna be the first and last one. It's someone named Antonio Guterres, who is
Sure. Italy? I don't know. That's probably racist.
Wow, that is a little racist. I agree.
I know that, but my point is that the United Federation of Planets is a separate entity from Starfleet.
Right.
Now, do they exist together? Can they exist without one another? I would say probably not. But
no, that is the
definitely
entire
Starfleet.
point of this argument. No, sir,
But
that is
hold
the
on,
entire point of this
Starfleet
argument.
could exist
You said no.
without-
You just said they couldn't.
Starfleet
You
could
said
exist
one
without-
couldn't exist down. Okay, so you're taking that
Starfleet
back.
could exist without the United Federation of Planets. It doesn't need the UFP, but the UFP needs Starfleet. That's what I would say.
Okay, well, first off, SC is here, so I'm sure you're going to be quite happy. I think he brought his good knee pads today, so that's.
Don't you talk about SC.
Don't you talk about my SC.
Don't you dare talk about SC. You better shut your whore mouth. Okay.
Whoa, sir.
That's right.
This is a family channel, didn't you know?
Oh, sorry.
Because we're not getting shut down by Kappa.
That's true. That's my bad. Since Harry Kim took over North Korea and united them with South Korea. God damn it, Harry Kim, but he's still what rank?
An ensign.
I was waiting for the comments to kind of.
Oh,
it's not that fast.
You put your hand to your ear, so I thought you were talking to me.
Sometimes
this is like,
I don't know. It's theater. Okay, I'm theatering right now.
This is the worst Christmas ever.
Is it Christmas already?
It really is. Yeah. You look happy to be here. By the way, too. By the way, we pointed that out.
This is the best Christmas I could think of.
The United Federation of Planets renamed Starfleet if they want to call them. Okay, I don't even know what the hell people. All right, so here's what I'm saying. Okay. When first off, the president has control of Starfleet. We see this in several. We see this in at least one Star Trek movie. We see it in Deep Space Nine and The Next Generation, where they have complete control over the military. The military is fed from several different, a lot of different planets and such. But when it comes to the way the United Federation of Planets is set up, it is based specifically on the United States. I mean, you wouldn't deny that, would you?
I would say that the Federation of Planets is designed specifically to be like the UN. That's why the flags look.
That's why the flags what?
That's why the UFP flag looks similar to that of the UN flag.
The president is voted on by those within the Federation, as is those on the Senate. Okay, so do the nations
cut? It's a blend of ideas.
Okay, so it's a blend,
just like the UN.
It's a blend of ideas when it doesn't agree with the way you're looking at, but it's totally the UN.
Kind of similar to like a general election, which they don't do for the UN, but overall the Federation is similar and comparable to that of the UN because it's pulling in different cultures and countries and militaries and resources into one specific group to do a specific task.
Yeah, but I mean, you could say the same thing for the United States. It works the exact same way. It's just a smaller microcosm of that. The U.S. military pulls from 50 different states with different resources and different opinions and different regions and things like that. I mean,
true, but they're all United States. It's all already a predetermined group.
They're all a united federation.
No, that's
that doesn't agree. It's a mix at this point.
That doesn't agree with me.
Okay.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
You're out of control right now. You're being ridiculous.
They're still talking about Ensign Kim. That's the thing about my channel. They don't care what I talk about. It's all about what they can.
Should have been killed off when Voyager encountered the Equinox, and one of the officers should have survived to replace him. They needed more cast shuffle over 7 of 9 and Kess. People really don't like Ensign Kim. They really have an attitude about it.
I never really had an issue with it. You know, did you watch SF Debris? You ever heard of SF Debris?
SF Debris?
Yeah.
No,
So
I don't think
he's
so.
oh man, he's really good. He's a he breaks down like Star Trek and stuff. He does other stuff than that, but he's a
Mm,
critic or whatever. He actually has his own website. He's not he has a YouTube channel, but he's more known for like his website and everything. So
okay.
anyway, he had a really good theory to use Harry Kim, which I thought was kind of fun. Where you remember the Year of Hell, where everything got reset.
Hmm. Yeah.
What he said to do with Harry Kim, because they decided, I think they decided to keep Harry Kim because he looked beautiful or something like that. Um, you never heard about that?
No.
Oh, we're going to talk about that in a second. So,
Okay.
in the Year of Hell, he suggested that you have one room that was shielded from all of the time stuff, that it had to be in order to make everything work. And so, what happened is instead of slamming Voyager into the time ship, Voyager somehow destroyed it. And the wave came and reset everything except for that one room with Harry Kim inside of it. And so Harry remembered everything they went through, and then to start that arc, so that he actually did something. I can't believe you never heard
Okay.
that though.
No, I've never heard that. No.
Originally, they were going to get rid of Harry Kim, not Kess. And then his actor was on like the top 50 most beautiful people.
That's weird.
Yeah, no, that is you can check it too. That's not like a rumor.
That's a
or
weird thing
anything.
to. I don't know. It's just a weird thing to be, I guess, given. As is that an award or is that just like a?
No, it was just a popular
Background?
magazine. I mean, magazines do that all the time. You know, the most attractive actors and actresses and all that.
I guess that's true. It's just I don't know. When I think Harry Kim, I don't think the most beautiful actor in the world. It's not what comes to mind.
Who would you
So
think is the most beautiful male actor in the world then? Since that's
the
something you
most
know.
beautiful male actor in the world, probably Hugh Jackman. That's who I would put down.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like burly men. I don't understand why. I don't know. It doesn't.
He doesn't come off as
Aren't you?
burly to me. You think he's burly because of
Yeah, it's
persona, but watch him you watch him in a play. That man's not burly. That's a Nancy. Okay, he's dancing around. He's prancing.
Are you glad you agreed to this?
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's prancing. I don't think Hugh Jackman would ever prance.
That man can prance, but yeah,
This is stupid.
I I don't know what the deal is with Harry Kim. There are issues I had with Voyager, but I remember like I don't want to say like growing up, but as I was going through my ages and watching, Voyager on television, like I never really had a problem specifically with him, but once the internet kind of became a thing, I think it's just now it's like kind of a thing to pile on Harry Kim for some reason. I never really got it. I never really had a problem with his character, but I know a lot of fucking people did though. A lot of people.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah, I did shit on him.
it's what I mean. They just never really did anything with Harry, which is what it came. It's like Neelix.
Right. I mean,
They
it's
never
boring,
did anything,
I guess. Yeah.
and so it's just easy to get on a hate train for him.
I guess that's why it doesn't really bother me because it's just it's in. It's just like I wasn't watching it for him. I was a teenager. I was watching it for Ryan. So
You're watching it for Jerry Ryan. You said
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why everyone was watching for Harry. It was like Harry Kim. Were you not? Was I watching a different show? Was I watching a different show? I was watching a show with Jerry Ryan in a cat suit. So I don't know about the rest of you.
Well, then
I don't know what the hell the rest of you were looking at.
I thought you were against objectivism. I thought you were like Star Trek Discovery all the way, which meant you're like all feminist and stuff. And
Listen. This was a Berman era. It was a different time. The Berman era.
I made
different
mistakes.
time.
I made mistakes.
Yeah,
and-
some of us made mistakes. Some of us made more than those. Yeah.
Okay, so the channel
The Berman era.
awesome, the channel awesome way of addressing the issues. I got you.
That's it. That's exactly it. So just blame it on the times.
Patrick M., which Starfleet hero captain would you want to serve under if you had a choice, and why? The Star Trek universe. A lot of people ask this. The Star Trek universe is one of the scariest places that you could ever exist. I mean, it'd be nice to think about it, but I would never want to be in the Star Trek universe. You have the Borg, the Romulans constantly wanting to kill you, Klingons always deciding to attack people, things you can just randomly go missing. There are just pockets of space where you just
You could wind up in the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like Cisco and probably Picard, but I don't know. I never understood. Where would you want to live in the Star Trek universe? That is a great way to die, in my opinion. That is one of the best ways to die, is to exist in the Star Trek universe.
I would definitely exist in the Star Trek universe. I totally would, even if it meant like I would only be there for like 10 minutes before I got blown out into the vacuum of space, because it would still be pretty sweet. But the only captain that I would want to serve in is Dr. Fraser Crane, um, whose name I forgot. What is his name? What is his captain's name?
Dr. Fraser Crane.
Yeah, you guys know. The comment knows. The people watching know. They know.
Are you talking about Kelsey Grammer?
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer. Yeah, Dr. Fraser Crane.
Oh, he was Fraser. Who's Doctor? Who the hell is Dr. Fraser Crane?
From the show Frasier. It's only one of the most
Yeah,
popular
that's
shows.
what's confusing me. He's from Frasier?
Yeah, he was Frasier, but he had the beard in Star Trek, so you didn't notice. But
And he's fat.
Oh, he's not fat.
He isn't that.
He's just it's that fucking coffee filter turtleneck thing. It makes everybody look fat.
That is
It made
Frasier.
Leonard look fat.
That is Frasier. Oh my God! Didn't he get killed though? Didn't his
Frasier.
ship get? Yeah, I know. You're the one that told me.
No, the
Didn't his
Bozeman.
ship-
Yeah, the Bozeman. Well, the Bozeman and destroying the Enterprise too when it came through that wormhole. But then Data figured it out because of the rank pips on Riker's sleeves or his collar, excuse me.
Which
So,
makes a lot of sense.
that's right, because that's how Data was sent a message through the different time loops. It's yeah. So, anyways, that's who I would serve with, because why the hell not? Fucking Fraser as the captain. You know that ship's probably legit. Captain Morgan Bateson. There we go. Now we're talking. Yeah.
That a lot of people theorize that he was at Wolf 359. I don't know if you ever heard it, but the ship, the Bozeman.
Yeah.
Or no, I don't think it was Wolf 359. I think it was the Battle of Sector 001 in First Contact. The Bozeman was at that battle, or at least a ship named Bozeman was at that battle, and so a lot of people think that they continued to go on and still served in that battle or whatever.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if that's all you know, they give you a cool new ship, unless you're in the Discovery timeline, in which case you go to the future and everything fucked. But, in this case, it worked out for them. So great.
The Discovery is still going to be powerful. It's going to be the most powerful ship because it's going to be upgraded by that AI or
That's
some
true.
stupid.
It's going to be powered by love and freedom.
It's going to be powered by. It's going to be powered by diversity, and
You fucking better believe it.
through the power of diversity, it's going to upgrade their phasers and shields and everything, and they're
It's
just
all
gonna,
powered through diversity, and they have to keep sacrificing a new diverse member every day to keep the ship running. It's basically just turns into anarchy, basically, on the ship. It's actually that would be a wild. No one would expect that. It turns into friggin' crazy space madness. It turns into Dead Space, the show. Nobody would expect that. Nobody would expect that. They'd be like, "Holy, what the hell am I watching?"
What do you think happened to the crew of the Bozeman? I think on the Bozeman itself, they probably were debriefed and then just put back into Starfleet. I mean, probably were retrained and all this stuff. I don't know why they would do that.
It's interesting because the Bozeman didn't travel as far as Discovery did in terms of distance and time, but they traveled pretty far. And what's interesting is it's like Starfleet almost probably had like a protocol to deal with this type of situation, because like you said earlier, this is a pretty volatile place to live.
Right.
And getting sent off into random vacuums of space to get ripped into, through time probably happens very often. We only see we see this much of what's happening inside of Star Trek, on the show. But there's so much stuff happening, but they probably have like a whole protocol dedicated to it. Like, oh, we got another one. They bring it into fucking ESD, and then they have like the whole, like a video on the projector, and some guys up front like, "Welcome to the 24th century," and he's like pointing at a card, and it's they probably have like a whole thing. They probably they probably just went back to work. They were like, "All right, give me a new uniform, and then here's your pajamas," and they just went.
I mean, it must happen. They have an entire temporal department when you look at DS9. You remember those two temporal agents that were asking about them traveling back in time? So, and they even the dialogue there talks about how it happens all of the time, right? Like they always say that or whatever. So I like your theories. I like where you're going with that, sir.
Yeah, I think if the part of me is excited to see how they play up this whole loss of the Federation thing in Discovery. I think it's a unique idea, but it would have also been interesting to see them just roll up and then they just they're like, oh yeah, it's like they get there like thinking that's like this big deal, and then they just show up at Earth and they're like, oh, it's another time travel ship, just put it in docking bay 4, and they're like, oh, this sucks, like I thought it was serious, and they're like, nah, it's not a big deal at all. Like that would have been kind of funny, but I guess that people would have probably hated that. So I guess that's why I don't write the television show. It's fine.
Well, it's you just get the money from Alex Kurtzman, and
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't
Scheffel.
get it directly from him. It's there's a couple of people in between. So
Well, I mean, it's like they said in chat. The temporal investigators, they're always on time.
oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Charles Ryan Lee.
yeah.
That's a pretty good pun there. I like it. I like where your head's at.
By the way, 46 people watching this, only 17 likes. What the hell is going on with that? I mean, look at that sexy face right there. Look at that, and look at this Lacar's layout. I stole it in like 10 minutes before we went live.
That's right.
We work hard for you people.
Yeah, what the F? Database accessed. It doesn't even say what database we're accessing. It doesn't even matter.
We access all databases, all
So
of
here's
them.
a question for you. What do you think happened to the Federation
I think I've
and
talked about this.
Discovery?
I think they went
Yeah.
Andromeda. I think they're doing Andromeda's thing. I think it broke apart due to war or some huge thing, and they're split into factions. If I had to guess, I would say that the people who are hunting them, they're made to look like bad guys. I'm not convinced that they are, given how diverse they are. I do
Hmm.
think that it may be a splinter cell or faction, like the what's left of the Starfleet military. Um, I disagree with you. I don't think Starfleet can be separate from the United Federation of Planets, but I do think that it would still. I mean, if the U.S. went away for whatever reason, people who are still on the boats are still going to be there. They're still going to have, the United States is still going to have troops and things like that. So I think
True.
just like that, Starfleet would still have ships out there, and I think maybe it's just a fragment or a splinter group, and it's one of those miscommunications. Or it could be that they went evil, maybe. I don't know. I think they're going Andromeda's route, though, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I mean, is it? Are we at that point now where if a large group of people break up and it's in a sci-fi universe, we just call it the Andromeda? Like they're just going Andromeda because it's not like Andromeda. Like it wasn't even a wholly unique idea. Like it's I don't know. I get defensive about that because people make it seem like they stole it from Andromeda.
Sure.
To
Well, I mean,
me,
I didn't say they stole it. There's a couple of things to
but
that.
that's what people use that as that like, oh, they're just stealing it from Andromeda. It's like, well, Andromeda stole it from other science fiction stories. Like, give me a break. Like,
Right.
I don't know. It's just it's a storyline about one giant group or government organization falling apart. Like, I got news for you. That happens in real life all the time, and they're not. We don't call it pulling an Andromeda,
Right.
which would be very strange. But I don't know if they're doing a whole it was war or whatever it was. It was definitely something, and I am very curious as to what it was. I know people had disagree with me. I know people would disagree with me that they think that there's going to be any connections or possibly little teasers in the Picard show as to what led eventually to the Federation being destroyed. But I kind of hope that they do that because I feel like that'd be a fun way to kind of lay some of that groundwork a little bit to kind of like it would be a slow thing. Like I don't think it would be something that would happen like immediately. Like, the Federation and Starfleet are really good at responding to immediate threats. Pull together, they rally, they do these things. But for the Federation to fall apart, I feel like it would have to be a slow burn, like something that would have to happen over a long period of time, and then it would eventually erode and fall apart. So I hope that we get to see something kind of like, is it about the Borg or something? Like, is that like something to do with like maybe there's an issue with the Federation's ideals and how they shift over time? And there's just breakages in that way. But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. One of the things that I'm curious about is that, as far as I know, we haven't seen any Vulcans in the new trailer for Discovery. We've seen Trills, we've seen Morn's race, we've seen Andorians, we've seen humans, we've seen different factions of humans, but we haven't seen any Vulcans or Romulans for that matter in the trailer. So I'm wondering if they're trying to tell us something with that by excluding them from the trailer. Maybe they're dead. I don't know. Maybe
Right.
they left. I don't know. Maybe that's another idea.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to actually challenge you on the Andromeda thing
Okay.
in just a second. But before I do
Okay.
that, I want you to entertain the folks. I will be right back. I apologize. I will be right back. Entertain the folks, though. Like Gene
Okay. No
stealing
worries.
Gene. Okay, give me a second.
Gene Stealing Gene by Cedric Taylor '08. Yes. It's I don't know if it counts as saying that Gene, I say Gene, but Kurtzman and company are stealing from Gene. The story elements. The problem is with science fiction stories, in my opinion, specifically science fiction stories and comic book stories and stuff like that. I feel like we've gotten to a point where it's hard to tell a wholly original idea that other people haven't already told. It's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible to repackage things to present them in a new, exciting kind of fashion and way that we enjoy as an audience. But it's difficult to just present something that has never been told before, never been done before, and to just simply say like, "Oh, it's they're doing it Andromeda, they're doing it Andromeda." It's like, well, that's dismissive of the work that they're putting into it. To just say that they're doing it Andromeda, like we don't even know what it is. Like I'm curious to see how this unfolds and what it really means. Like I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. Like to me, it's a big mystery. Like it's a big mystery box that they've put in front of us, and I want to see what's inside of it. And yeah, Kurtzman kind of got that style from old JJ because JJ likes his mystery boxes, but it works. The style works. Like for me as a fan, I want to know what the heck is in the box. So that's where I'm at right now, kind of with that. Yes. So to answer your question, Andrew Close, who says, I don't know who the other guy is, not seeing his name anywhere. It's me. I'm the one that messaged you and said that you were rude. It's Ketwalski. Check out the logo, son. But yeah, no, I'm hanging out here with Lore for our new podcast, War Canoe. So it says here, have you seen today's video by Anti? No, I don't usually watch Anti Trekkers videos. What was the video about? Let me know. I'm curious to hear what it was about. But yeah, anyways, my whole theory with what's going on with the Federation is I think that first off, I think that they should mention the temporal Cold War. I hope that they do because I think that was a story plot line that kind of got dropped a little bit in Enterprise, because people didn't really like it, didn't resonate with the fans. But I hope that they bring it back. I hope they reference it, and I wonder if that's going to be connected. There's a few hundred years between the Cold War and the temporal Cold War and the start of Discovery, but I hope they kind of bring that piece up a little bit. Maybe that was the catalyst for the Federation falling apart, or maybe they just kept messing with time so much that it just eventually fell apart. I don't know. It's another idea there.
Yeah, so I'm back. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Kids called me for a second. That is the second time that's ever happened while I was talking to you.
Hey,
So,
that happens. Okay. So
so
we got
let's.
another one here.
Oh, sorry. Go
Hold
ahead.
on. Ryan Hayu says, think by now it should be Trek tradition to be accused of stealing from other sci-fi. We all remember DS9 versus Babylon 5. Right, exactly. And again, a lot of people like that was a big deal. Like that was a huge deal at the time, and it still is. It's a hotly contested topic, the whole DS9 and Babylon 5 situation. And my point is and this is kind of something that I touched a little bit on with the video I did about Anas Abina about a month ago, which is there comes a point where it's like, is it homage? Is it theft? Or are we just at a point where everything original has already been said? So all we can do is really take what other people have done, inspiration from there, and try to add our own flavor to it and repackage it in a certain way. And I think in a lot of ways, we're kind of at that point. Not everything, definitely not everything, but for a lot, like there's so much content out there, like some of it's just going to be repetitive in nature. I mean, that's my opinion on that.
So, I mean, let's talk about the Andromeda thing for a second.
Yeah.
First off, I think Andromeda, they may have not been the first to do it, but it really felt like they popularized it, at least for right now. People look at them for the inspiration from it, but I don't even necessarily want to go there because as you know, Andromeda was created by Gene, and there's in fact a lot of speculation that this is what Gene was so disenfranchised with what they had done to Star Trek that uh, part of the reason Gene made the universe the way he did was because he wanted to destroy the Federation, right? So when I say I think they're going Andromeda, I think they're following a timeline that he had wanted to do. And I don't, just going back, Gene stealing Gene. It's an idea from the same author. So is it necessarily stealing? Uh, so I do think that they're following Andromeda's footsteps, but I don't think it's necessarily as nefarious as you kind of made it out, or as frustrated as you made it out to be, because that's just the way I think they're
Yeah.
going.
I mean, and I get defensive about it because people use it as a way to attack other people. Obviously, the big narrative with Discovery is that Alex Kurtzman and company just steal everything that they're trying to do. So I get defensive about it because I find it to be just, I don't know any of these people, but they're putting, like, if you watch some of the behind the scenes work, like they're putting in a lot of effort. Like a lot of work is going into these shows, and to just write it off so nonchalantly, it's just, it frustrates me. So I get defensive about it. I do get defensive about it, but it's right to say, like, are what they doing is in relations to what his real goals are. I would say, like, yeah, maybe. I think that these people really care about the show and Star Trek. And is it possible that maybe they saw what he was trying to do with Star Trek to begin with and try to write this story that maybe he himself would want to tell? Maybe. Yeah, I think that's definitely a valid point to make, for sure.
Right. Well, and I mean, the only other thing is that it is what it is. If they've stolen something, then they have. I don't think they have ever necessarily stolen anything. At worst, I think it's homages, but you can do that with anything, right? There's nothing new
Right.
under the sun. Every story that is to be told has effectively been told. You can't do anything new without it being reflective of something that's happened, which is why I watch his channel, but I'm not as impressed with Major Grin. Do you know who that is? That YouTube channel?
Major Grin. Is that the guy that posts up a bunch of videos that, like, anti-discovery videos? That.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, they show like where Discovery has done something and then another movie has
Yeah.
done it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're talking. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
sometimes he puts up interesting stuff. Like I think he shows the differences between the way um, idiot captain uh, ran her ship and deserved the court martial that I assume she got,
Hmm.
versus the
Yeah. I
way
saw that. I
Picard.
saw that video he was talking about. I didn't get the comparison.
Well, you don't. One's a good captain and the other's not. And so it would be hard to compare the two, right? One knows how to work with people and
Right.
bring out the best in them, and the other basically got her ship destroyed right off of Klingon space and had the chance of
Right.
having it stolen. So,
Right.
yeah, one's a
Right.
good
And, like,
captain, one's a not. Yeah.
right. That's why I didn't really understand the comparison. Like, there's a story about somebody who's not very good at their job, and several people who are not very good at their job, and also the intention being that it's comedic in nature. Like, I didn't quite understand that comparison. You're right to say some of the stuff he posts up are interesting and kind of humorous in the comparisons, but that one in particular, I was like, I didn't really get personally. I was like, you're trying to say, like, that, yeah, it's Star Trek in name, but these are two wildly different types of stories that they're trying to tell, in my
Well,
opinion.
I think where he's trying to go with, and there's some validity to a degree, it feels like they, at worst, are trying to say that the captain wasn't at fault. At least that's the way the story read to me. It really did. I wasn't given any reason to feel like the captain learned anything. And the way it was written, it almost feels like she's not even considered to be at fault. It's a horribly written story uh, when you look, well, from a basics. I don't think it does the hero's tale at all very well. I don't think it's written well.
I mean, yeah, I guess it just depends. Like, so my thing is like,
Who's the
I
hero of
think,
the story?
what's up? Who's the
Who's the
hero of
hero?
this?
Who's the protagonist?
The protagonist is really nobody, but that's kind of like,
That's a problem.
is it though? Because
Yes.
I didn't feel like I was lost watching it. I felt like we were just getting this much information, like a snippet of the life of these people in this particular moment. And to me, I don't know, like, I don't know what it is. Like, I sat down and I watched that one, and I thought it was great. Like, I liked the elements that
Wow.
were there. I liked that. I thought that it worked for what it was, which is I wasn't taking it particularly serious, which is the same thing I did with the Pike.
So there's no so there's no
Before that.
protagonist. So there's no protagonist, but you thought it was great.
I mean, yeah, but I
Okay.
would say that it could have used a little bit of structuring to make it a little bit more.
A
Like I
little bit
think
of
that if
structure.
they spent a few more minutes with, um, God, I don't remember the guy's name now, but the Tribble guy's character, a little bit more with his character, I think that would have been beneficial to the short trek. But
Was there any
overall, like,
lesson? Okay, go ahead.
no, was there any lessons learned? No, but I don't think that's what they were trying to get at. Like, not every single iteration or episode or piece of Star Trek is about learning a lesson.
Sure.
Sometimes they were just it was a departure from what we're normally getting with Star Trek. It was intentionally played for laughs. It was not intended to be taken seriously, and it was not intended to be really impactful overall to Star Trek. It was just there. It's just a thing.
So it had no
that
it
exists.
had no real storyline, no real plot. There wasn't anyone you could attach to. No one learned anything. So your idea of a great episode or a great story has no protagonist, no antagonist, no arcs.
I would say it
No
just
one
depended
learns
on
anything from it. Just
to me, it
just
read like
people on a
short
screen.
story. It just read like a little short story, and
Sure.
I don't know. It just worked for me.
What's
I
a
can't
short
really-
story?
I can't, it's
Define a
just
short story.
story.
What is a
It's a
short
short
story? What are the elements of a short story?
The story that is short.
Okay, it's a short. Okay, you nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed the elements of a short story. You got
I
it.
know it's a short story, but I would say that
Okay.
for me, it just worked. Like I watched it and
It's
I
not
was
about
just
it.
engaged with what the characters were. But like
What the
but, I mean,
characters were? Who were the characters? Walk me through the characters. See, that's what I'm saying. It's not that
You
it's Star
had
Trek.
the
I don't
captain.
care. Okay. What was her story?
had-
What was her motivations? What happened to her? Not a
her
damn
whole
thing.
thing
Yeah,
was-
nobody knows because it's bad story
The
writing.
whole thing, it was she got her first command.
Sure.
And she was challenged by someone and made a mistake. She was a bad captain. She made
Sure.
really bad mistakes.
How did she grow?
She didn't grow, but we're
Okay.
only dealing with
How did
them
her
for this
How
much
did her
period of
not
time.
grow?
Not
I'm
every
sorry, it
story-
doesn't matter. Yes, every story
Not every story
has
needs to be
impact.
like that, though.
Yes, it does. Yes. Okay.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No, not every
All
story
right.
needs to be like that. Not every story needs to be like that. Not every story needs to
I-
have a beginning, middle, and end, and have a character title, character arc. Not every story
know,
has to be like that.
You're right. Not every story. Why didn't they just show us paint on a wall? That's just because not every story has to have that, right? I mean,
Not every story has to have that.
okay.
Not every story needs to be the exact same. It's okay to just it just exists. This is just this weird video about a guy who injected his own personal DNA into tardigrades and they blew up onto a ship and they just and they destroyed it. It's just there. Like to me,
that's
it
a
just
wonderful.
works.
That synopsis is appropriate for the show.
It is.
I will grant
The
you that.
Tribble guy-
Yeah.
the Tribble guy-
Tribble guy. The Tribble guy.
The Tribble guy, I would argue the Tribble guy is probably the closest thing to a protagonist. Or I would say there's two real protagonists. If you want to get into it, technically, the two protagonists are the captain and the Tribble guy.
No, I wouldn't even call the Tribble guy the protagonist. I think he's the antagonist of the story. But I
Oh,
mean,
you could say he's the antagonist. Okay. But I would say that the two of them, they have a short period of time. Could this have been better if it was longer? Yes. I will agree with the fact that it could have been better if it was longer. If we spent a little bit more time with Tribble guy and him fucking around with the Tribbles and getting on everyone's nerves more, then it would have sold it a little bit better to her desire to leave him behind and everyone's desire to be like, yo, fuck this guy. But I feel like because they're limiting themselves, it kind of limited the storytelling capability a little bit there. But to me, it just worked. I don't know. It
okay.
just
So the
worked for me.
escape artist. Do you remember the escape artist with Harry Mudd?
Yeah.
Who was the
Yeah.
protagonist in that?
That was Harry Mudd.
Okay, cool. What was his arc? Do you think?
He didn't have an arc.
Yes, he did. Oh my god.
No, he didn't.
Yes,
We
he
didn't
did.
even we spent zero time.
His
We
entire.
didn't spend any time
He
with
grew.
Harry
Okay.
Mudd.
Okay.
We didn't spend any
All right.
time with Harry Mudd in the
Okay. So
entire.
you don't know good storytelling, which explains.
We
some of your
spent no
breakdowns.
time with the character
Sure.
of Harry Mudd.
We spent.
whole episode.
Yes. Okay.
No, we didn't. We didn't spend any time with the character Harry Mudd. We didn't even find out that Harry Mudd in that weird costume until the end of it. We only found out that the whole time it was actually just him being a clone. The character of Harry Mudd
Okay,
didn't change at
that's fine.
all
I mean,
because we just spent time with the clones. They were sipping gippers on a beach somewhere. The
okay,
character didn't change at all.
okay. I didn't know for someone who how many. I'm sorry, I didn't know a YouTuber who critiques. I didn't know there a critic who critiques Star Trek doesn't understand basic story structure and things like that. So I apologize.
How is that?
I
How is that?
apologize.
How
No, I
is
didn't understand. I didn't know that you don't know the basics of story structure and how things go. And I just didn't
how
know
is
you can
it
make that.
that the
Man,
character of Harry Mudd progressed in The Escape Artist, in your opinion?
okay, I will admit. I'll not admit. I will say that Harry Mudd specifically didn't grow. You're right. We weren't with Harry Mudd necessarily. We got to
Right.
see Harry Mudd. We got to see the character arc and the progression of how Harry Mudd, or at least his robot clone, whatever, progresses and deals with adversity. And I think that you could say that he had a hero's tale if you walk through it. It's been a while since I saw that, but I would say that that is, and that's not even the best example. But I would say that he had an entire arc. I tell you, the best short thing that blows yours out of the water would be
Mm-hmm.
what was the one with the black guy?
Calypso.
Calypso. I think that's a classic hero's tale. Done. It's done in 20 minutes, so maybe you're gonna catch me on that. But it had a story about a guy who his character changes and progresses, and information is added in 20 minutes. So I mean, you can do it in a short time. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would totally agree. So my thing is like this, right? I would say that the first go through of the short treks were intended to be taken very seriously and follow standard story structure elements. I would say that that was their intention there. With the second bout, at least so far, with the two that we've seen, which is the elevator one and triples one, is they are not looking to take themselves too seriously and follow a standard story structure. They're
Right.
looking to just give us weird episodes of different things, and
They're see. I don't think
that's
that.
just how I feel
You
about
know,
it.
I don't think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to show us different facets. I think if wow, that was very southern. Facets.
Yes.
If you look at the conversations and everything that they have, the interviews or whatever the hell, they're trying to show us like a different aspect of it, right? I don't think it's
Right.
just random shit that they're throwing against the wall, being like, "Hey, here's this. Why don't you give us money?" I think they're trying to show us different facets, and I think they're
Yeah.
failing at it. The fact that you're like, "Well,
Yeah.
it's just short," and you got and your best buddy SC, your lover SC here saying it's just skits, kind of shows that they're failing at showing us like anything of depth, right?
Well, I would say I don't. When I say random, I don't mean like they're just sticking throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. What I meant by random is I would say like it's not something that's going to be directly connected back to a season of a show. Whereas like the Discovery ones, other than the Escape Artist, all of the other three were very much connected to what is going on with the next seasons of Discovery. Whereas these ones seem a little bit more random in nature of what potentially like what point in time we're dealing with and what the story structure is. Like I don't think I'm not like random. Like here's just a bunch of weird shit. I just don't think that they're trying to make it as serious as the other ones were. That's just the impression that I've got from the
As
first two.
impactful, maybe is what you're looking for.
Yeah, as
As
impactful. Like I don't think that they're trying to make it as punchy as the first bout of
well,
short treks.
they're
Why
truly
they've changed
one-offs, right?
they truly are. Like
Yeah,
that's really like I don't think that they have any intention. I mean, other than like they're truly one-off little snippets. They're using the Spike number one and Pike characters obviously for a few of them, but I think that they're truly just giving us little one-off little
right.
snippets of different things. That's just I don't know, like it's just I got like to me it just clicked immediately. Like I got what they were trying to get at. It just worked for me and it didn't really bug me at all. From any other perspective because I just knew that it was just being played for jokes. Like the triples one, especially, was just being played for laughs and
Right.
just silliness. Like I don't know, like it's just like I got it immediately, so it's like it just didn't bug me in the same way. Like that's why
Sure.
like for that one I didn't review it in the same way that I reviewed like the elevator one, where it was still played a little bit more seriously. But
Sure.
I'm tracking with what you're saying. Though. What you're saying is a fair about they're not following the standard story structure, and it's not necessarily good in terms of these standard storylines, and that we're getting that from a we would want to
Yeah.
see. I hear what you're saying though,
I think,
but
yeah,
hold
I
on.
think, I think, yeah, I don't know. Again, it's probably the degree talking, but when I analyze a story, it's just that you're right. That does not follow. That doesn't even follow.
Right.
I mean, the heroes tell is the most. Campbell is the most well known
Right.
theory that's used because that's how Hollywood makes a lot of money. There are other ways of writing a story, but I don't even see it following a lot of those, and it's just frustrating to me.
I get it. I see what
But
you're saying.
before we get to Farpoint Station, who had a question that we may need to clarify for you,
Okay.
just so everyone knows, I actually really like Kowalski. I like giving him a hard time because he's a friend of mine. I mean, I think he's an excellent YouTuber. One of the reasons I keep bringing him on is because I think he should have more subscribers than me.
Oh,
And
thank you.
well, yeah, man, I like you a lot. I mean, I think that you are what YouTube needs, and it like you've had to hold me back. Sometimes people, because honest to God, I think that we need more YouTubers like you, and it pisses me off if people are unfair to you. So you've had to hold me back, and not picking fights on your
That's true.
behalf because
That's true. That's
I don't
true.
I think you get a lot of guff that's undeserved. I think the fandom menace is completely wrong about you.
Well, thank you.
I'd be happy to tell them to their faces. So I mean I give you a hard time. Just because I like you, you're a good friend. I mean, I don't like your lover SC all that much, but beyond that,
No, to
I'm
stop
just
talking
kidding.
negatively.
I love you, SC. I'm just messing
That's
around.
right.
Farpoint Station has a question for you, Walski. How did your
Okay.
service after your view of Star Trek? I'm not sure. He may need to clarify on that. You don't have to. Don't give money to clarify. Just do like at Lori Litter or at Ketwalski
It
and let
says,
us know.
how did your service alter
Uh,
your view?
alter.
Or
Oh, I thought it said after.
alter, yeah, alter.
I don't.
So I will answer your question, Farpoint,
I
by
don't know what
saying
he's
that
talking about.
I think he
Okay.
means my military service. If it altered my perspective on the Star Trek, and I'm assuming that's what he's getting at. I don't want you to say it. I don't want you to pay any more money. Um, but I would say that it didn't alter my perception of my service that I'm in right now. It actually altered my perception of, position of going into the service. The whole reason I joined up is actually because of Star Trek, and I watched these, specifically TNG, growing up, watching reruns of it on television, and just seeing this military-esque organization, how everybody worked together, and they were big teammates, and all of this cohesion and stuff like that. Like, it just seemed really exciting to be a part of a big group like that. So that's why I actually joined up in the service. So I would say that Star Trek influenced my perception of the service and serving. So that's why I went that way.
Sure.
So it
That's
hasn't
what.
gone the opposite
That's why
direction.
you're part of the United Nations.
That's true. That is
Oh
probably,
yeah,
that is, yeah, I'm
yeah. Because
actually in the
obviously,
United States, so.
you wouldn't join any other thing because that would be hypocritical. So as we all know, you're a part of the United Nations, or God
Yep,
forbid.
that's right. So yeah, I know. So Farpoint Station asks, Lore, what's your head canon for where spots 1 and 2 went? Yeah, well, Lore, what's your fucking head canon
For what?
where the other spots went?
On on who? Say it one more time. I'm sorry. I was.
Where the Data's cats, because Data went through a bunch of different iterations of cats.
Well, they probably died.
I would assume that they died.
Well, I mean, I don't know that they died. They probably just weren't available. They probably just switched out cats because I imagine that's what you do. They don't just keep them in a cage in the back. And it's like, yeah, let's bring them out.
No, I'm talking about Data killed those fucking cats. That's
Oh,
what I'm
you
talking
mean in canon? That's he
Yeah,
killed and he
Data
kept replacing them.
Data definitely killed those cats, not because he's malicious, not like he's like a crazy person, but because he doesn't understand things. And as he was learning how to take care of the animals, he went through a couple of them, so to speak. So that's what I believe.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that you don't ever watch the Pitch Guy from Screen Rant?
The pitch guy.
Yeah, so you've never heard of him.
Pitch meetings. The pitch
Yeah,
meetings guy.
pitch meetings.
Yeah.
He had a awesome skit where he's like, he was doing a pitch for the Pokemon movie, and they got to the part in the Pokemon movie where the animals cry and it brings someone back to life. in the movie if you've never seen it. And
I did.
the executive's like, that's not how it works. And he's like, yeah, it was. When I was a kid, my goldfish died, and I cried until my dad brought home a fish in a bag. He's like,
That's it.
Tears bring back your loved ones.
That's how that works.
That is how it works. Oh my God, he's funny. All right, so this has been an epic failure. I think we can both agree.
Yeah, I mean, this is a total shit show. This is the first and only podcast that we're gonna do. So
yeah, so I mean,
I hope you guys enjoyed it, and gals.
So, I don't know. Do we want to try to go and do like a super secret one, like the after hours? Do we still want to do that, or do we want to just for tonight just leave it right here?
Yeah, we should totally do a super secret one because I'm ready to start cursing.
Yeah, because we haven't been doing that at all at any point.
Definitely not. Not as much as I should be.
Not as much as I should be. All right, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to end this one. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, if you're a patron or you're a member or you're like SC and you're on your knees for Ketwalski, we're going to be doing a specific video that's going to be, kind of there. It'll probably come up at some point, but I think we're going to be talking more about how much Ketwalski loves Anas and the Fandom Menace. So definitely stay tuned for that. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out Ketwalski at youtube.com/Ketwalski. I just realized that I look like a vampire from here. I wish I had known that. I would have fixed that. But anyway, we'll see you on the next Lore Reload. Or, I know, War Canoe. That's what we'll see.
Yeah, War Canoe. Gosh.
Yeah, God.
Gosh.
This is the worst Christmas ever. No, this isn't an interview, 0918. We are doing this every other week. Well, we were going to do it every other week.
Every other week. I don't know now. I'll see you in 2020.
I'll see y'all in hell. That's where I'll see you.
That's right.